The Front Row Back Row podcast is a show where two grad school buddies discuss physical therapy entrepreneurship. I helped guide a company to an 8-figure exit, and I'm now starting my own mobile company. Brian grew his mobile practice to 4 clinics, and he's now doing $1 million in revenue. Join us as we help you grow your own business. Hello and welcome. We are, that was my normal intro, hello and welcome.
Just get into it, man. Just get into it.
Well, we're talking networking, right? We're talking how to use networking to get what we call, warm reach outs, right?
Yeah. I said it perfectly. I said this perfectly. People listen to this because they want to help get patients, right? And so I said, I got an idea of what I did this week to help get patients, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
I mean, We're two business owners. We are currently doing it full time. It is not what worked for me 7 years ago. So yeah, how you get patients, man? I know we talked a lot about networking, so this is going to be a little bit about
I met an acupuncturist. Yeah, so I went to this networking event, met an acupuncturist, and here's a really good tip I'll tell you one thing. When people don't all right, I'll give people a really good tactical tip. When you want to network with somebody, or you want to meet somebody, when you finally get in front of them, just schedule a meeting with them right there and then. Right? Don't wait. Oh, let's exchange emails. Again, it's like a close. It's like if you had a lead, close them. Just close it. So what ends up happening is when somebody, I met this acupuncturist, and I'd never done acupuncture before, but she was super nice. And she was like, I really want to talk to you about your business. Can we set up a time to talk? And I said, sure. What time next week? And what time next week? And I was like, I'm away this Friday, but let's figure out a time. We scheduled a time, and she came to one of my offices, and we met. And then she was really into what we're doing. And I was like, I'd love to learn more about acupuncture and how I can help and how we're different and some of the things are different. And she goes, why don't you come for a session? And I said, cool, I'll come for a session. And I did some acupuncture yesterday, some dry, some needling from her. She did some acupuncture stuff, which was super different than what we do and super cool. She's definitely a practitioner of ancient Chinese medicine, which is definitely not something we do. And so she came to me and she was like, well, I also have this back issue. I have a back problem. Can we, can we exchange some services? I said, sure. I said, we can do that. I'll do some physical therapy stuff and show you kind of what we do. And so anyway, it was just an easy thing especially if now she's a solo practitioner, a little bit older. And so she's not going to have a lot of clients that are going to flood us. But if you're in Owen's shoes right now, where you're a mobile person, this is a great referral source for you. Right.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I tell people all the time, I look for coaches and athletic directors because I'm looking for athletes in droves. I'm looking to fill up our clinics really, really fast and do that kind of stuff. Right. That's why physicians work so well for people. But if you really can get 5 evals a week consistently, you can grow beyond yourself. Right. So an acupuncturist who sends you a patient a week or 2 patients a month, if in theory you reverse engineer that, you get 20 of them, you're going to need more than just you. Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thought process here is it's just a simple networking. And again, that tactical thing, I watch so many people say, well, that networking event didn't really do anything for me. That networking group, I don't want to go. Dude, just set up a freaking appointment with somebody right there and then. If you want an appointment, if you want a networking event, say you're going to go. I remember one guy was like, I'm going to a Yankee game with a bunch of networking people, and it worked really well. And it didn't because he was a dumbass, so it didn't really work for him. But I was like, how many meetings did you set up for follow-up? Well, I'm going to reach out to those guys. No, you're not.
No,
you're not, because life's going to get busy, and so are they. So in that moment, hey, can we meet this for lunch this time week? Or can we meet at our place here? Can we grab a cup of coffee? Can we meet as a phone call? Do you want to come to one of our clinics? And just do it right there and then. Again, it is modern technology. We are walking around with a freaking calendar right here on our phones all the time. I can get in every single calendar I have. There's no excuse. So that's a really good technical piece of advice for most people.
And I agree. I think that people who say I'm not good at networking, it's not that you're not. I mean, yeah, you might be a little awkward talking to somebody, but I think you have to understand there is very much a kind of quote unquote speed to lead timeline with networking. And I think the best thing you can do is if you run into somebody or if you're at a group where it's, a dedicated time for networking, set up that appointment, set up something on their calendar that they have to see later and say, man, I committed to this. So then they have to either A, go through with it and they meet with you, or B, they have to find a good reason not to, right? Because professionally, they don't want to just bounce, right? So that is way more sticky than like somebody they could just ignore a phone call, but if you're right in front of them, schedule it, right?
100%.
And that's another thing. So talking about groups, I know some people are very pro networking, other people are very anti networking. And I get the anti networking part of it is you spend a bunch of your time just you know, having donuts or whatever it is
Your
with
time's
some
worth
people
shit.
that may or may not. And
I don't understand any of it. I don't understand any
well,
of it.
but I do get it. Like
All
if
right,
you,
all right, here we go. Ready? Let's do this.
it's
Ready?
time,
Ready?
it's time.
Real
Well,
fast. Real fast.
yeah,
Real fast. Real fast.
okay.
Hit me with the negatives of networking, and I'm going to objection overcome and smack you in the head. Ready? Go. And I know.
You,
Oh wait.
you
By the way, I know Owen also networks, so this is also theoretical. But hit me with him. So, because for those of you who are like, yeah, I agree with Owen, because you don't, because Owen doesn't really agree with you, but I'm going to call it out. For those of you
it's
who are
time.
like, oh,
It's time.
networking is stupid. Go. Tell me. Tell me.
It's time you could be selling.
Okay, you could be selling, but you're not because you're listening to this podcast, so you're a moron. Go out and do it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hit me with another
It's
one, Owen.
no, seriously, that's the biggest one is that
Your
you
time's
take it
not worth
out
that
and
much. You know what I mean? Like your time, if your time is networking, again, like I have so many clinics. I have so much other stuff I could be doing for time. My
yeah,
value on that is huge, right? And that
yeah,
process. But again,
okay,
if this woman refers me 6 clinics or six patients in a year, the average plan of care is about $1,000. She referred me $6,000.
yeah.
Is going to an acupuncture appointment and treating her for free one time worth it? Is texting her not worth it? Is networking with her not worth it? And again, if she does it for years and years and years, and by the way, those 6 patients might refer 10 friends. That's another 10
Mhm.
grand. And if those other people do this, so now Owen, we're gonna segue because
But
now I'm gonna segue into it. My point being is for those of you who think networking is not worth it, listen to Owen's free giveaway and what he did with
mhm.
it. And then we're going to talk
So
tactical numbers and why you're a ding dong and why you should stop thinking about that way. Because your time's
yeah,
useless and
so
your time's worth nothing. You spend
okay,
time on
well,
useless shit. Go ahead.
well, I will say there is a very much a difference between the quality of your networking, right?
For
So,
sure.
if every time you walk into a networking group and you get a contact like that, it's a really good networking group, right? So, speaking of that, a lot of listeners to our podcast know that we are both members of a group called BNI, Business Networking International. They're all over the United States. They're all over a lot of countries, but particularly in the US. Some cities they're huge. I know in Phoenix they're very popular. Other cities not so much. They have a bad rep, but basically what it is it's a group, it's a referral organization of small business owners in a given area, right? So some of them may be roofers, others may be naturopathic doctors, so some might align with you and then others might not align at all. But they're business owners in your area, so it's a network. What I did with my BNI group is I immediately started and I gave every single one of them, so there's 60 people in the group, every single one of them 2 free in-home sessions. 120 sessions I was ready to offer for free, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot when you're driving half an hour between each 1 hour appointment. Um, and what I did was I offered that in January and I stopped it this month in July. And I think maybe about 15 people took me up on it. But every single time I did it, it was one of two things I said. I said either A, we can continue a paid relationship after this. And I had 3 people do that, which totaled me somewhere about $2,500. And then I also said, if you're not going to do that, please make sure you get up and tell everybody how awesome I am. A lot of people, we got really great results within 1 or 2 sessions. It was kind of those tweak issue things. And every single week, someone was up in front of 60 people saying how I helped their husband, their wife, themselves, how they got back to certain things. And now the naturopathic doctor is sending me a bunch of people. I got 3 new evaluations, paid evaluations on my schedule from BNI this week. And it is just going to kind of snowball, like you said, with the networking thing. So do not be afraid to give away your stuff for free in a targeted area, right? This is not something where I was saying, hey, free physical therapy, let's devalue the care of physical therapy to the masses. It was very much a, we are in a group together. I promise to give you this if you promise to give me that, right? And it was
Yeah.
trading services for exposure, essentially.
No,
And it worked out swimmingly.
no, here's what I would say too. And we're not just preaching for BNI. Like I was at another group that this last week that wasn't a BNI group. You can go to other meetings and other things, right?
Mhm.
If you're going and spending time for a work event, it should be to create a selling opportunity. There's other things. There's like, I think that's what people misunderstand is, oh, it's not, my time is not worth it. You are lead nurturing. You're creating leads, and then you're creating sales opportunities. That's the whole point. The sales opportunities just isn't poof in your face. It doesn't happen like that, right? So Owen created a opportunity for sales, and he just talked about 3 different sales. Owen, from that group alone, can you share with me how much money you created this week?
This week?
I would do it, but I also don't know. How's this? I don't know if I could tabulate it that quickly because it's so much money. But let's do it on this
I'd
different scale for Owen.
I'd probably say about $1,000 this
So
week.
$1,000. So the math is easy. I might calculate it, but the math is easy. So he got $1,000. He did that play. That's $52,000 a year if he kept that up. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
for those of you who think,
with all the free visits, and from like previous connections, because I've only been in BNI probably for like a year and a half. I mean, I've cleared like 25 grand in the last 6 months.
That's what I'm saying. And it just, and again, so extrapolate that. He's like that the maths, that means it's 50K a year. Right. So it's a no freaking brainer. And then again, by the way, like there's cool, like I've gone to events that are at dinners. Like I remember going to one, in fact, Owen and I know the PT. He invited me to a thing that was at a dinner event at night. And I was like, this is awesome. And I went and it was fantastic. And I have done business with 2 other people that are in that group, him included, right? We've referred stuff back and forth. In fact, quite frankly, I've given him some business because of it. And that's because I like the guy. And so what ends up happening is that will always go a long way. So even if I think what really people, here's the true objection. People who are basically, what happens, I think, is if people are in a position where essentially they are not wanting to network because of the time, and they're like, oh, the time, I don't have the time, or my time's worth more, I should be setting up a selling. Really what's happening is they're being short-sighted. And it's the same exact thing if I was like, I'm not going to invest in my retirement. It's like, I'm not going to invest in my retirement because I have other things to pay for. I got other stuff going on, blah, 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 blah. And that might be the case if you're in a desperation mode, right? But when it comes to investing your time, it's not worth anything. The whole time is money is absolutely dumb.
Well,
now,
and this is,
So anyway,
I agree. I think giving your stuff away for free is vastly underrated, especially in the cash
100%.
pay game, right?
For sure.
Where really the biggest thing you have that you can gain is trust. And a lot of people are, well, I don't know if I trust you that it's worth it, because you're the same as every other PT on the search engine, right? They don't know you from Adam. But when you go in and you are able to show, okay, this is how much I know, this is how I would treat you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, some people are going to take it for free. That's fine, right? But they will then feel obligated to tell other people, right?
100%.
And then the people who can afford it will be like, oh, this is clearly better. Like, let's go, right?
Yep.
So giving yourself stuff away for free is underrated. But from a networking perspective, I think it's important that you make sure that it's very much an understanding, right? It's very much an understanding that either this free session is for a beginning of a lot more paid sessions from the one individual, or it's like a, hey, I'm doing this for free, but give me a Google review and make sure you tell a friend, right? And now some people are going to be great about that, other people won't. But on the whole, if you look at it, time spent versus not, I mean, I have like 50 Google reviews as a half of the time I was a part-time cash-based practice owner. I have 50 Google 5-star Google reviews, right? Because I'm pushing like hell Google reviews with my BNI, with all this other stuff. And there's one other guy who has more Google reviews than me, right? And guess what? He's been in BNI 2 years longer in a bigger chapter, right? So these are the things that, you kind of say, networking groups really do matter, and they can help in a lot of different ways.
Sorry, I started monkeying with the thing and then I lost my video, but it's all good. You still hear me fine, which is good. All technical difficulties. So anyway, so I wanted to circle back on one other thing. What Owen just said before that was, because we were talking about acupuncture, is, well, yeah, if you make a connection like that in a networking group, that's what makes the networking group worth it. I also want to talk about different angles as to people. Like, I always tell this story, right? I have a friend who's an attorney in another networking group that I met, another networking thing. And not only am I treating family members of his, he's referred to other people, but I remember I was trying to get in touch with a cross coach. and I couldn't get in touch with that lacrosse coach. It was driving me crazy. And I tried all sorts of different ways. And somehow it came up in conversation. I was like, I've been trying to get in touch with this guy. I don't know how to do it. It's right here in Greenwich. It's driving me nuts. And he goes, oh, I grew up with that guy. It's an attorney, a family law divorce attorney. He goes, I grew up with that guy. We played video games growing up. I'll text him right now. Boom, put it in there. They pay us. They have literally closed business. It's almost 20 grand to Owen's point. And that's just for the actual business on the coaching for that team. We've done one-on-ones where they pay $400 a month. We've had physical therapy. So that's why I said to Owen, when Owen was like, oh, let's extrapolate. It's $1,000 and then it's $52,000. That lead that guy gave me, it's $100K. And by the way, we've done it for the last 2 years. So it's led to 100. It's going to lead to 6 figures worth of business that's recurring in our business. And so that's what I bring up is, you don't understand the ripple effect. People will say, oh, I'm just looking for healthcare people. I'm looking for people because you never know who people will meet. You could sit down to somebody and be like, oh, I'm a coach of a rowing team. And people always have back pain. All right, cool. Like, I'd love to go talk with your rowers and go chat with them and do other things. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways to do that. I think that's a huge piece of this that people are missing all the time.
The old model of affiliate marketing has been dead in cash pay for a while. I mean, how many cash pay? I mean, when you started 9 years ago, you weren't at doctor's offices. You were everywhere in the community. But I mean, even in insurance space now, doctors are doing direct to consumer. They've always kind of done direct consumer, but like they're getting into like CrossFit gyms and groups and stuff now. Like they're seeing how people are much more, even if they are using their insurance, they're still going to go and search you on Google, talk to their friends, post on social media.
For sure.
So if you're still running, we'll leave it at this. If you're still running around hoping that doctor calls you back, I'm telling you, there's a lot better ways in 2025 to get a multiple on your networking time.
Dan Kennedy was the first person to really talk about direct-to-consumer marketing for a lot of businesses and really wrote the stuff. There's plenty of books on it if you want to read Dan Kennedy stuff. So I'll give him all the props. When it comes to marketing, if you're going to doctors and you're hoping that patients call you, you're doing something wrong. If you can go through a list, it's just like the same thing we talked about with hiring and trying to find physical therapists. If you can be proactive and actually like go after people or have a waiting list that you can call to get leads in, that it's very difficult not to have a successful business doing that. Very difficult. And that to me is the key with a lot of this stuff. I think it's like insanely important to think about it. So anyway, that's how I would do it. Guys, if you like stuff like this, if you have physical therapy friends that, of course, because we all are incestual and all have friends together in physical therapy, please, do you like this podcast? Please recommend it to them. Hit us a follow. It's the only thing we ask. We'll always come up with cool tactical stuff like this for free and give it out to you guys. So that's it.
Cool, man. Cool. All right. We do a weekly Q&A if you want to get on that. Description.
Yeah, exactly.
Description. Physio-growth.com.
If anybody's interested in our stuff, we're always happy to talk about it.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right, my guy.
See ya.